Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bobby.
How are you doing? We are so happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine that you guys are calling from there. And
This is actually exciting because കുറേ നാളായിട്ട് സാറിനെ ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ ട്രൈ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു ആൻഡ് ഫൈനലി സാറിന്റെ സൗണ്ട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഖത്തർ റേഡിയോയിൽ കേൾക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് സംതിങ് സോ എക്സൈറ്റിംഗ് പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine, Bobby.
സോ ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കണോ തമിഴിൽ സംസാരിക്കണോ?
I think Tamil will be easier for me. Composing in Malayalam is easier than Tamil, speaking in Tamil.
But sir, in destiny അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ ചില ഇത് നമ്മൾ വിശ്വസിക്കുമെന്ന് അറിയത്തില്ല. So yesterday I was actually preparing for the interview and all. Suddenly we have a dance competition is happening sideway. So suddenly a team has registered a dance, and when I checked the video, they started with the Udicha Chandar and the Chandar like Punjabi house song. Okay, they're like
Okay.
10 or 12-year kids. Then the next song they are coming like Tengashi Patanam. I'm thinking like they were not even born during that time. But these kids
Right.
are performing for the songs which were composed like 20-25 years back. So
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
ഒരു എക്സ്പയറി ഇല്ലാത്ത സോങ്സ് മേക്ക് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറയുന്നത് is something big, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, I think I got the opportunity to do songs like this, Bobby. Especially with directors like Rafi McCartan, they gave me a lot of freedom to experiment with different melody lines, with different beats, with different kinds of sounds. At that point of time, it was very new. So I think I was pretty blessed to get an entry like that. And of course, one thing is no matter what it is, a song by itself doesn't become a hit unless and until it's got a movie that's backing it.
Yeah, true.
So it's always a team effort. I absolutely won't take the full credit for it, but I'm really happy that I'm a part of it.
So sir, let's start with like sir ജനിച്ചത് Chennai but you grew up in Mumbai.
Yeah, my schooling was in Bombay.
And then you came back to Chennai.
Came back to Chennai. Born in Chennai, brought up in Bombay for all my schooling. My 11th and 12th I did it in Chennai, and then Loyola College in Chennai.
So I heard like കുട്ടി സുരേഷ് പീറ്റേഴ്സ് വന്ന് இந்த கேண்டில் லைட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பிடிச்சு ட்ரம் ஸ்டிக்ஸ் மாதிரி வீட்ல எல்லாமே தொந்தரவு பண்ண மாதிரி அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சைல்ட்ஹுட் இருந்தது நிஜமா?
Absolutely true. My parents are the testimony for it. From school, I was quite involved. I was very attracted towards percussion instruments, especially drums. So, ungalage theriyum what kind of noise will be there when a teenager decides to make noise with all the pots and pans at home. But that was one way of growing up and one way of like really having some memories which brought me closer into like music in a full time, It was always there, yeah.
But it's where you got that liking towards the percussion, because I don't think anyone from your family maybe influenced you, but from where in that small age எங்க sir the influence கிடைச்சது?
Absolutely no idea, Bobby. Absolutely no idea. ஏதோ வந்தது. It started something very early when the first concert in Patina, it was like when I was about like in Montessori. That's when I really like made a beginning in my life, which I still remember, although it's that young. But after that, it's been quite a single focused journey, because I knew that I wanted to be a musician even in school, in college. I don't know, I would call it destiny, I would call it a gift that God gave me. But my focus was there. Of course, nobody from my parents' side or like both of them had anything to do with music or creativity that way. But then it's not destiny. You can't do anything about it.
But sir, എല്ലാരുമേ ലൈഫിൽ ഒരു പോയിന്റ് എത്തുമ്പോൾ നല്ല ജോബ് എടുക്കണം, നല്ല സെറ്റിൽ ആവണം എന്നൊക്കെ നിனைക്കുന്ന ടൈമിൽ you also got a job in, or maybe you worked in Ogilvy and all advertising field.
Yeah, Ogilvy and Mehta. That's
Yeah.
right. That's from the age of when I was in college itself, I started playing with a lot of professional musicians as a drummer. I got exposed to playing with good musicians, mature musicians at that age. So I guess when I came to Ogilvy and Mehta, was exposed to the recording industry as a film executive. I had joined there. So making jingles, making films and all that was a part of my job. But eventually it was during that point of time that just little after Ogilvy and Mehta that Rahman was doing Roja when I got this offer to join him. For me, it was one full circle completed to get inside professional music full time. I was doing the same thing in advertising, but I went one step ahead into joining films. So having got an opportunity, it was not too difficult to decide to move on.
But how your parents actually adjusted with your decisions actually?
My parents have adjusted with me since the day I was born. So, I mean, I mean, lots of love to them for having born with me, and creative line is not as stable, they say. But fortunately for me, it turned out to be a much more stable venture than I expected myself, because it kind of catapulted me into a lot of other things in music, films, and stuff like that. So for me, I would look at it as more like a journey. And my parents, my dad especially, was involved in my professional career for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
He used to manage a lot of stuff for me at that point of time. Now he's old. He's about 84, 85 now.
Okay.
But there was a time when he also helped me out in a lot of things in my career. So not really, Bobby. I think they were quite aware that my life was eventually going to be a professional musician. So I think they kind of accepted it.
But I came to know that you are not even actually interested to be a singer, or maybe not as a singer. You are always into the percussionist. You ended up as a singer because of Rahman. And
Exactly.
you remember the moment when you heard Chikabuka Raile all over India, or maybe in every week of Doordarshan, or everywhere where you go. You remember that time?
Yeah. At that point of time, to be very honest, there was not really looking outside for anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
We were busy with the next project. There was no time to really even go out and think of what is happening and how big the song is. I think it's many years later, that I realized what had happened and the bigness of it. Otherwise, there was hardly any time to think of anything. Something or the other was happening. It was either into singing, or it opened up me singing outside for other people also, for other music directors.
Yeah.
And learning programming, learning sound engineering. And it was more like, for me, an extensive stage of learning than going outside and finding out what had happened with whatever I have done. It took a long time for me to realize that.
But sir, on the recording session, Nyabagam irka.
Chikabuka Raile I had sung it I've sung it a few times. The first time when I sang that song, I had no clue that I was singing for something. I thought it was you have track singers, right? So I thought I was just singing a track to just lay down a track for somebody else to sing. That was the first time.
Uh-huh.
The second time when I sang it, I kind of figured out that why was I called the second time was inquisitive for me. But it was the third time when I sang it all over again, and these are all nights when I realized that it was for a feature film. And by that time I was quite aware of it. Even though it happened, I didn't realize what was going to happen in the future. I think that was destiny again, because I had no clue. I just thought I had sung a song with no... Rahman never told me to sing it in any way. It was I had so much of influences of Western music, and I had worked before with Rahman on jingles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when given a Tamil song, I did not have any kind of an influence to sing it other than whatever I had experienced in my life. And it took someone, a genius like Rahman, or like a director like Shankar, bring it to life, which I had no clue at all, Bobby. Zero clue. So my contribution to that was delivering the song in the style that I thought I was good at. But the final product of it had nothing to do with me. It was completely Rahman's genius.
But you must be followed some singer in Western, actually, maybe some style, right?
That was the influence of Michael Jackson. To try that timber, is like to try something like a timber of Michael Jackson. Who gets an opportunity to do it?
Absolutely.
I never thought I'll get an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So that was completely out of the blue for me.
അതോടൊരു ഗ്രാവിറ്റി തന്നെയാണ്. ലൈക്ക് ആര് പാടുമ്പോഴും അത് സുരേഷ് പീറ്റർ സ്റ്റൈലിലാണ് പാടാറുള്ളത്. ലൈക്ക് ആ ഒരു ടോൺ പിടിക്കും.
But that became a style, Bobby. It was not like I had any influence in me to deliver it like that, and I had any preconceived notions. Nothing was there. It was like one totally open experiment to try out and see what can work with that. That's the main thing.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു എല്ലാവരുടെയും വിചാരം സുരേഷ് പീറ്റർ റഹ്മാൻ കോമ്പിനേഷൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ചിക്കുബുക്ക് റൈലെ തൊട്ടാണ്. ബട്ട് ഐ തിങ്ക് യു ഗൈസ് നോ മച്ച് ബിഫോർ ദാറ്റ്.
No, we were there much before. I'm talking about I met Rahman when I was in college, early college.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, he was already playing sessions in studios. He was already a professional musician. He was playing for Raj Koti and Ilayaraja sir and stuff like that. He was way ahead. But I happened to meet him, and we could do something together. First in a rock band called Nemesis Avenue, where I was a drummer. And later on, when I was in Ogilvy and Mehta, a lot of work I could do with him in terms of jingles or scores or stuff like that. Got exposed to him much earlier And when films happened, I wasn't very astonished that he would be the best. Because even before that, even his jingles were like, going national.
Yeah.
It's not a surprising thing that he deserved where he had to be, and I was very, very blessed and lucky that I got a chance to be with him.
Do you remember that period, sir? Like, I think ഭയങ്കര passionated ആയൊരു team, rock band team ഉണ്ട്, your discussions, because that was an era, digital era start ചെയ്യുന്നു, computer, ഇതൊക്കെ തുടങ്ങുന്ന ഒരു ടൈമാണ്.
ഒന്നും ஞாபகம் இருக்கு. One thing is, even when we were in college, all the musicians who came out of college and became professional musicians, I think the dream was there already.
Okay.
There was a route to take. There was somewhere to go towards. It wasn't all let's just jam and party. Most of the people that I knew are very serious musicians, who used to spend a lot of time practicing, a lot of time getting new sounds. One of the main things that ever changed in that era was the sound of music. When synthesizers started coming in, and when we could blend that kind of sound with Indian melodic lines, it gave us a multi-dimensional kind of an approach towards composing music and arranging music with different sounds.
True.
Today, of course, it's very difficult. It's a completely digital era. But those days, making a song required a lot more time than what it is for today.
പണ്ടത്തെ പോലെയല്ല, ഇപ്പൊ റാപ്പ് സോങ്ങിന് ഭയങ്കര സ്കോപ്പുമാണ്. ആൻഡ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ യു ആർ ഫോളോയിങ് മലയാളം മൂവീസ് റൈറ്റ് നൗ, ബിക്കോസ് എല്ലാ മൂവിയിലും ഒരു സോങ് ഇസ് റാപ്പ്. സോ അങ്ങനെ റാപ്പ് സോങ്സിന്റെ ഒരു സ്കോപ്പ് അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു? നിങ്ങൾ പെട്ട റാപ്പ് ചെയ്തത് ഇസ് കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ലോക്കൽ റാപ്പ്. എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു നിങ്ങളുടെ ജാമിങ് സെഷൻ?
It's more like even before, I used to also, at that point of time in the 90s, I used to be a DJ. One of the first clubs that we came out with in the Park Sheraton called the Gatsby. I used to DJ there. That was a time, I think, during that time was the birth of like rap. Rap is very old. When we were creating music, one of the things that I had told Rahman, and when he had also suggested, at some point in time we should bring this style into Tamil music. And we experimented with rap much before Kadalan also, but it kind of did not sit in with the film. So when Kadalan happened, and then we had somebody like a Prabhu Deva to front it, I think Rahman came up with the idea saying, let's go back to this idea of creating a rap. It was a procedure where first we had to decide on the concept of what it's got to be. Peta rap itself is a concept, to bring a peta into it, which means localizing the whole thing.
Okay.
And then Director Shankar came up with a lot of words put together, and we were experimenting, and then I had to put it into rhythm, to get that correct kind of intonation. Like rapping is a little bit like Konakol also.
Okay. Okay.
Percussive dance with words is what I would call it. But even in spite of all that, the genius of Rahman bringing in somebody like a Kunjurama, Amma Peta, that was unexpected for all of us. Okay, nobody expected that. And the second thing was to bring in Kut in rap.
Yeah.
That local flavor. So I think it had elements of a concept, first of all, not just rapping, not just coming in and saying we are delivering this style, but taking a style like that and making it appealing to a very local man using local words. That was what I think changed the nature of the song, not just the word rap. Well, it was a style and we brought that into it, but there are a lot more elements because of which the song became a hit, not just because of rapping.
Okay, pioneering digital era at the time, or synthesizing, നമ്മൾ rap ഇതെല്ലാം പറഞ്ഞു, even DJ also. But ഇതിനൊക്കെ ഒരു ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയ ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടെ സർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ahead of time. പോപ്പ് ആൽബംസ് ഓർ ആൽബം സോങ്സ്, അതും തമിഴിൽ. ഐ കാൺ ബിലീവ് ദാറ്റ്, ബിക്കോസ് ആ സമയത്തൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഹിന്ദി ആൽബം സോങ്സിൽ നിൽക്കുമ്പോഴാണ് തമിഴിൽ ആൽബം സോങ് വരുന്നത്. സർ, അന്ന് അതിന്റെ റീച്ച് എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു? ആളുകളിൽ അത് എത്തിയിരുന്നോ, ഒരാളുകൾ അത് അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നോ?
Oh yeah. It was Minnal was a fantastic reception from all the people. There was no two ways about that. See, one of the things that I would say is doing an album is one thing. Producing an album, advertising an album is another thing. Anybody can do a song. You can go and record a song and do it. But it was such an enormous team that worked on Minnal. Some of the biggest professionals. It was mixed by H. Sridhar, who I still consider the number one sound engineer in India. I still haven't found a replacement for him. The kind of studio we worked in, it was like the kind of gear we worked on, in par with any of the studios, like a Hit Factory in New York, or some of the best studios in the world. The musicians who played on the album, there was an influx of something. We always sure that even if we were to do something independent, it would be heard. And of course, we had great producers and distributors who could it's not like today where you could release a song overnight. Those days it was cassettes and CDs. They were physical properties. They had to be shipped across to every shop, and of course it went all around the world that way. I still remember, that is one thing I remember compared to Chikkabukurele, where I was really happy with the reception because I was following it closely. In terms of distribution, in terms of how it can make a difference. And I was very surprised that Minnal had a huge market in Kerala. Even before I did Punjabi House, I think Minnal was what introduced me to Kerala, and that is where my first relationship with Kerala began.
But after that, I think you didn't get much time to do more of albums, right? Maybe you must be busy with the film works and other stuff.
No, I did albums. I did 3 more albums after that.
Okay.
But the thing was, by that time, I was already neck deep into film music.
Yeah.
But I found that the music I did in films reached a far wider audience.
Yeah, true.
And especially with Kerala, after Punjabi House, I think I got opportunities to do something what was completely different from what people thought of me. Like Chikkabukurele, Petarap, Urvashi, and all these things gave people an image that I was only into pop music.
Yes.
But here, I could actually be myself with Malayalam music. I could be a composer.
Malayalam cinema entry, that also in Punjabi House. Punjabi House itself a different idea. Malayali Punjabi and Malayalam song in a Punjabi beat. ഭയങ്കര ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു തോട്ടം. എങ്ങനെയാ സാർ ഈ എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു ചാലഞ്ച് തന്നെ ആയിരുന്നില്ലേ?
The fact was, when I heard the story of Punjabi House, even before I did the music, I was immediately interested because culture brings in arrangement of music. When you say Punjabi House, the first thing that my mind went into was Punjabi music.
Yeah.
Straight away. Now, if I have got to fuse Punjabi music along with the melodic lines that would suit Kerala or Malayalam music, actually was a fantastic challenge for me.
First movie a challenge.
No, but it just makes you think. I think a challenge is when somebody pushes you, a director is actually giving you a scope to do something that you can't imagine.
Yes.
When you see Punjabi, the first thing that comes to mind is rhythm. And that is why I think they made a good choice of pulling me inside, that to, Balla Balla, Udisha Chandarane. And also, it gave me a chance to also bring in the influences that I had. Like, for example, there's one song from Minnal which was adapted in that song.
Mugilina Marayanada Malayalam.
Correct.
One of my favorite.
Yeah. Yes. Now that we could adapt. And so, when you look at it, I think one thing that I have found very common with all the Indians, all across, is we love melody lines. We are very aware of culture. There is something called, when we hear this, when a certain beat or a certain music, we know, okay, this is Rajasthani. When you hear the chanda, oh, this is Kerala. We are aware of it. When you mix and merge, I think we are already ready to accept. I think it just has to be done well. That's all. So Punjabi House gave me that opportunity to do it well. They had that confidence saying okay, let's try and see whether, and they gave me I would say the rope. Because they did not tell me that this is exactly what we want, and especially Rafi gave me that rope and said, you go ahead, establish what you want to establish with your melody lines and that kind of recording. So I think it was a pleasurable journey when you have people who trust you and believe in you.
When we talk about rap songs, Malayalam എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു അതിനു മുമ്പ് അങ്ങനെ റാപ്പ് സോങ് ട്രെൻഡ് ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. ബട്ട് ആഫ്റ്റർ യു കെയിം ടു ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി, മലയാളം ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിൽ റാപ്പ് സോങ്സ് ചെറുതായിട്ടെങ്കിലും കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഈവൻ പഞ്ചാബി ഹൗസിൽ തന്നെ സോനാരയിൽ ചെറുതായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഒരു സിംഹം മലയും താണ്ടി, തെങ്കാശിപ്പട്ടണം സോങ്. ഇപ്പോഴും ഞങ്ങൾ ഇതിന്റെ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ വരികളുടെ പുറകെ എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല. ബട്ട് സ്റ്റിൽ വി ആർ ട്രൈയിങ്. And there is one, I think, in Runway, Shaba Shaba.
Yeah.
Right. It's all for the Malayalis, we actually, like you said, we followed Michael Jackson to a certain period. Then we actually followed Rahman. Then it actually then comes to Suresh Peter to introducing something new to us. We all want to thank you for introducing us to all these genres of songs actually.
No, it's as you're saying, I'm just saying, I just wanted to say I had an audience that gave me a chance. The Malayalam audience gave me a chance to not only be a singer on this style, but to be a composer on a completely different style. I grew up listening to Yeshdachi and SPB sir and, Mano, and I was a big fan of Swarnalata even before that. But to actually live your dream was to have them sing your composition. So for me, it is far beyond just becoming a music director. That was a part of my dream, which was coming true. And I am a crazy fan of these people. So I think it was a journey where I didn't think much, but as much as I just wanted to go to the next level and see what the next song can be like. I never thought so much, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
I didn't spend my time thinking of what will they say and who will say what. I never got into validation. For me, the captain was the director. Most of my movies which I have done have been a very director-based kind of music. Can we experiment with this? Can we do this? Okay, for example, when we did Ravana Prabhu, one of the things was, let's get into classical music a little bit. It can be semi-classical. We can do it stylishly.
Okay.
So it gave me an opportunity to come out with something like Akasha Dibangal Sakshi or an Ariyade. These were a little more back in time in terms of melody lines. The arrangement was maybe a little bit more funky. It gave me that opportunity. Or like in a runway, that song Pullariyal. Those kind of melody lines, I got a chance to do it, and it was basically because of the team. The director was very important to me. I can see his own confidence. That makes it very easy for me.
ചില സോങ്സ് തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഫീലിംഗ്, സ്പെഷ്യലി രാവണ പ്രഭുവിൽ അറിയാതെ അറിയാതെയുടെ ആ തുടക്കം കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഈവൻ ഫ്ലൂട്ട് ടു then that bass guitar, if I'm not wrong, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Is usually nobody will try to start something with bass guitar and give us something so smooth to listen. But how that happens, how that making of Ariyade, because in between there is a classical fusion also happening.
Ariyade for a start was like was something that came vocally itself, not a bass guitar. The idea of having to start the song with something like that came beforehand itself. It was like, okay, if you have a bass line like that, it actually gives you a kind of a smooth entry into a song was already thought of. Of course, one thing I can say is being from having an influence of Western music, especially in terms of jazz and rock and pop, I think bass guitar is an integral part of these songs, So I think it was just that came into the song to give it that funky flavor, because bass guitar gives that flavor, I couldn't do that with any other instrument other than the bass guitar. So it was a no-brainer for me. And extensively I use bass guitar because I believe that a song is sonic. It has a high section and it has a lower section. And I think it's very imperative that most of the songs, when you hear those days, the older you get, it was so mid-concentrated. Everything was mono and it's very midi.
Yeah.
Right in the center with loud voices and loud. But as time progressed, I think we got the sonic shape very well. The bass guitar could take a certain blanket or a pillow kind of a feel, holding the whole song together. Also, you could go to various notes on the bass guitar, which could change the song itself. You can probably play one or two chords, but have so many notes played on the bass guitar to create another pattern. I think it's got nothing to do with thinking. I think it's just basic arrangement in music, which I use. That's all.
But sir, is there any time ഏതാவது director വന്നിട്ട് സുരേഷ് in the song വേണ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ in the tune വേണ, like let's try something else, ഏതാவது ഒരു
This Tengachi Patnam, we landed up making 25 songs, and then we narrowed it down to like which is the best and which is the best. Sometimes part of the fourth song will be good and part of the seventh song will be good, so maybe we'll tie it up together. It's a creative process. You can't just come and say like, okay, 5 songs are there, okay, here it is 1 song, 2 songs. No, you land up making a lot more for every film, and then you filter it down to what exactly you would like, and it builds. For example, like that song Pachappa Vida Varnakur, in that I still remember like when we had completed the song and then Rafi said, okay, but the scene starts with the heroine running and the hero chasing her. That's what we started. We thought like, okay, why not start with a konokol along with a kanjira, to establish that running. So I think each thing evolves. It's not like thought of. As the song is evolving, so is the visual evolving in the director's head. It undergoes many changes before it comes to the final product.
I think that's why I think in Maratulli Kilikam, Teriyarangam Mugile, that is one of the best melody songs, and I think only 4 or 5 musicians were there to make that song, right?
Yeah.
Including you.
4 musicians. Yeah,
like Donan Murray on guitar, Jim Satie on keyboards, and Keith Peters on bass, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Because the song doesn't demand anything more. You have to see what the song is more than what you want to arrange it. I could have taken a Tere Ranga Mugile and made it into a 80-piece orchestra with string sections coming and giving it. But I thought finally at the end of it, the song was best just with the smallest number of instruments.
I think another time ഇത് വിശ്വസിക്കുമെന്ന് അറിയില്ല ബിക്കോസ് അന്നൊക്കെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഒരുപാട് ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെന്റ്സ് വെച്ചിട്ട് റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പാട്ടുകളെ പറ്റിയാണ് നമ്മൾ കൂടുതലും കേട്ടേക്കുന്നത്.
ഇല്ല ബോബി, that is one thing that understanding recording does.
Okay.
You must, most people think the more the instruments, the better the song. No. It's about even one instrument. For example, even a whisper can sound louder than a scream if you record it well. It's a recording technique. It's the way you project it. It's got a lot more to do with technicality than music also. So most of these engineers, they really knew their job to make 4 people. For example, even today I listen to Beatles. Beatles is just 4 people.
Yeah.
So how come we still love them? So it's got nothing to do with the number of musicians. It's got everything to do with the song. That's all. In fact, Aryade has 5 musicians.
That also?
Aryade is only 5 musicians. And by the way, Aryade has got no electronic instrument in it. It's completely all acoustic. There is no electronic instrument. It's every little part that you're hearing is played by a musician.
Can you just tell me which all instruments you used for Aryade?
There is mridangam. There is flute. There's veena. There is drums. There's bass guitar. That's it.
That's so nice.
And even the pads, for example, the pads were sung by, pads means the backing. It was not keyboard. It was all female vocalists singing it. So there's absolutely no electronic instrument in Aryade at all. And it was my dream to create a song like that, where I don't use electronics.
Sir, as a singer or maybe Suresh Peters in the Pariba Tamil you started, but then as a music composer or കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് മലയാളത്തിലായിരുന്നു. എന്തുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കും സാർ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും തിങ്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഇപ്പൊ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ അതിനെപ്പറ്റി?
ഇല്ല, അപ്പടിയില്ല. What I focused on was whatever work I got, I focused on.
Okay.
I started getting more Malayalam films, so I took it as it came. And the more it came, I got more involved in it. That's all.
And the time நீங்க வந்து கேரளாவில் இருந்தா இல்ல சென்னையில எல்லா worksum?
No, that time we were working in Chennai mainly.
Okay.
Because most of the studios I was recording in at that point of time was in Chennai. I wanted to work with some of the engineers in Chennai. So plus I had my own studio at that point of time in Chennai.
So when you mention about sound engineers, I think we should talk about H. Sridhar sir. Not many knows his name. Maybe in the industry ഉള്ളവർക്ക് അറിയായിരിക്കും. But ഇപ്പോഴും പഴയ ചില പാട്ടുകൾ ഇത്ര ക്വാളിറ്റിയിൽ നമ്മൾ കേൾക്കുന്നതിനെ പറ്റി പറയുമ്പോൾ I think we should give one of the credit to H. Sridhar sir, right?
Not one of the credit. All the credit goes to H. Sridhar. He is the guy who changed the color of sound in India. Although there are great engineers, I won't deny it. Whether it's in Hindi music and there were awesome engineers, but the hybrid sound that Sridhar had brought into the industry, I still don't think I'm yet to hear that sound. Especially after he passed away, there's been that hole that has never been filled.
So I think H. Sridhar is one among that guy who's such a genius.
I'm glad that you mentioned it. I'm glad that you mentioned it, and I hope that people get to know his name, H. Sridhar. I mean, the genius behind the biggest hits of, I would say, Rahman songs, and by himself also he's done some great stuff in Bollywood.
Yeah.
And personally I worked with him, and it's sheer magic the way he mixes sound and he masters sound. Compared to a lot of them, I think he had golden years. That's what I will say. It was that you could just trust and let it be.
And also sir, ivlo hits Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, എല്ലാ ലാംഗ്വേജിലും ഹിറ്റ്സ് ഇருக்கு, സോങ്സ് ഇருக்கு. But we never seen you in spotlight or maybe limelight. അധികം ഇന്റർവ്യൂസോ പബ്ലിസിറ്റി മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും അധികം കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. സാർ കുറച്ച് മാറി നിൽക്കുമായിരുന്നോ?
I never missed anything, Bobby. I kind of felt like, okay, at the end of the day, what has to come to you will come to you. I don't think many people from Kerala even reached out to me for interviews at that point of time. Though I was giving a lot of interviews in Tamil, so in a way, I was happy to be where I was. It's okay to do great work and not be that known. Also, was like in a private way, it was like it felt okay.
But it's surprising, sir, because I think no other competitive in the time you never pushed yourself to do a marketing or a PR work.
See, Bobby, so many years later, you're still calling me and having me for an interview, no?
Because we are addicted to your songs and your creations.
That's all. That's all that matters. The thing is, music should last. Music it should be somewhere where even after so many years you still like the song. That is more important, and then your rewards will come automatically. Sometimes it happens that you go and put your face out there and make yourself bigger than the song and bigger than music. I don't think that works, because at all points of time my only this thing was, if I make a song today, 25 years later I should be able to enjoy the song, was my only this thing which I had in my mind. And having achieved that, I feel extremely satisfied, because honestly, that was the thought. Not to do shortcuts. Okay. To do a song, no matter what it is, maybe your kids will enjoy it, maybe your grandkids will enjoy it, maybe it can become a legacy, because an opportunity is an opportunity. Fame, okay, today it'll go up, tomorrow it'll go down. So I don't think you should hold on to it with such a vigor. I think you'd rather spend that energy in creating music and creating some stuff than thinking, okay, they owe me this. Nobody owes you anything. You already paid for it. So if anything else comes, it's out of love. Just be thankful for it. That's all.
Very recently, we came to know that you're doing a Malayalam movie.
I'm not doing a movie. I have a friend of mine, Varghese, he asked me, I'm just doing 2 songs in the film. He wanted 2 songs. Mm-hmm. I think that's about how much I'm contributing towards that film. It's not a full film that I'm doing.
Just 2 songs.
So just 2 songs. That's all.
It's
so
okay. We are happy for that. We got a chance again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But sir, what is happening right now with you? What you're doing? We would like to know that too, because I think you have a school or something, right?
Yeah, I had started a school of electronic music. Uh-huh. In between that, I also was teaching in Vijay Bhumi University in Karjat as a professor in music, because I love teaching also. There's so much to give. And of course, one of my other passions, right, for the last 30 years has been making music for jingles, for advertising films, which still goes on. I still create music for advertising, and people come from all over, from Kerala, from Chennai, Bangalore, sometimes Bombay. I am always open to doing music on various formats, and there's live concerts. Of course, I would still like to do some more music. I'm not yet done with films, in terms of so getting the right opportunity, I might still do films or playback singing. So everything is in spurts, there's not one thing that I'm saying I'm doing. I keep myself busy in different formats as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And let's see, it's a non-stop journey. So what comes.
And also we are expecting a reunion from you, Rahman sir, all together. Another beautiful song. Another trendsetter.
Absolutely. See, what is happening is we've worked together for decades. Yeah. And now I feel like it's more about newer talent. There's so much of new talent that all of us need to recognize and bring about. Not to do the same things that we used to do. The fact that we put all our heart and soul and did what we did at that point of time, it stands the test of time, right? So I think now it's a question of promoting new artists who will do the same thing, who will be able to carry on the legacy and be the next Rahman or be the next SP Balasubramaniam. Because life is all about change. Life is it's a constant. So I look forward to newer talent, not about going back and doing the same thing all over again, because we've done that.
Yeah.
We've already given whatever was in our heart, and every age also brings a certain kind of a flavor, no? Today I find so many youngsters so talented. When we were young, we never had that opportunity. Why not bring up people? Why not really train people? Why not have a lot more than just a few people in the industry is what I feel now. It's no longer about let's go back. I'm saying let's go forward.
And you're also in that mission actually. You have a school and you can see a lot of new talents.
Absolutely. They're brilliant. See, those days the parents, you asked me one of the questions, how did your parents accept you? Ask me. But today there are parents who meet me and tell me my son wants to be a musician. The change in that, the acceptance in that. There are times when I lecture students and there are parents sitting there listening to what it is. Today there is so many different jobs in music that we didn't have. Those days it was just a few jobs that in music could bring. Today it's a whole lot of difference. Today you don't even need to go to a studio. Technology has evolved, and technology has evolved to such a level where even your minor corrections can be done so delicately, on whether it's pitch correction or whether it's replacing instruments or just a change in one bar of music. Or, there's so much it has advanced that now I would say like the biggest problem is that we got too many. It's getting saturated. So we need to create musicians who will be able to stand the test of time, who will be able to deliver to the audience, who will be able to, because music keeps us all together. We need the next. And I'm glad that even now, we still have Raja sir making music. We still have Rahman making music. They have not left. They have not finished. The next level will come, but I'm looking forward to the next generation as much as we all had our own time.
Now I think everyone is into AI, so things are getting easier for them, I think.
Easier, but I still am not there with AI. That is soulless. I think the soul is what music is all about.
True.
It's beyond just singing and playing music. It should be something that touches you, right?
In Nandalala's song from Independence, there was something in the beginning. Still, we didn't know what it is. Kalyan Sana Konachi. Something
Kalyan Sangle Konachi. That's a Goan.
Konkani.
Konkani, correct.
Oh.
Yeah, they wanted to start with something which is like an old lady singing another dialect.
Okay.
So that's when we brought this in. We said hey, how about bringing a Konkani kind of a dialect?
It was your idea.
Yeah, most of it is planned because I can give an idea, it can be rejected also. But everyone thought why not? Why not just try this?
So is this something you wrote it or it's already existing song or something?
It exists. Kalyan Sangli Sonachi is one old, almost a century old, I think so.
But we are very sorry to you, sir. We took all the freedom to sing in our own way with our own lyrics, with matching the original.
Absolutely, please go ahead. I still sing some English songs with my own lyrics because I don't understand what's happening.
So we are happy now.
No, seriously, there are so many English songs I still don't understand, but I'll use my own lyrics and sing it in my head. So I can't blame you for that when I can do it myself.
But sir, we're so happy. One thing which we missed, you didn't sing any song for us. We didn't ask you also. But if you're
today, my throat is in a bad place, so I would avoid singing today. But maybe, surely, I would love to. In fact, I'd love to perform in Qatar if I ever get an opportunity to.
Why not? We are waiting for it, and we'll definitely try for that too.
Absolutely. Would love to.
And thank you so much, sir, for giving us so much time talking about all your works.
You're more than welcome, and it's my pleasure that I could speak to you and I could reach audiences over there. And thank you for all your love. Thank you for all your support for all these years. And hopefully, I'll get some nice films and be able to deliver you guys some more music. Thank you.